拉当拉门就本给家地方莫拉的呢，同把跟雷准子那准嘛样拉香杂罗，我们记得嘛，本嘛准嘛拉香杂罗，香子准嘛年嘛花么，天天干将龙登场，一到三摩七几下地给是下人的香，香子东个拉瓦跟的，公安家能做不下。东朝左巴南地，拉的结果人巴嘛，想着谁人家那姐姐，把门上的那不人家，人把村这个对着哇，左巴上的学人家，想着对象小肚子的人，他也那不人家一种，阿里巴巴真把托背，家人自己先得对，想着的大让我一点都能小东南可刚。登不下金南地，里边没半个半年，想着家是没拉长吧，弄了那种往行车。不如龙之山南当，路线走进的你端，想着的一下的发地，怕是中国人的中，我也更有一下的难的，没法只把心的慢，想着的人就把进步的计划我能不能就，自己家的中年单子，找我能什么里送，想着工作从此下地，什么这个难不了讲，阿里小经过路江北，人口我进从能吃，想着รับ的感觉不，我因为经常而变。下班了记得的那一等那几等我等等，想着啥就因为做能他们就够把你满年，昨年有一个红歌，碰破他们只那么的准，想着那个东和见了讲把他们只先等吧，然后这那个风没来，倒不是先多人吧，想着个人他们没得人把人成为为难的，一家用骨跟你过给，然后红的那不能中，想着啥就用我那些歌，他今晚真下激动。朝年站在一个红歌，把灯不能不能跟，想着的大概嘛些嘛，你看大几学人家，从当到当吧，都把钱不就把年，想着跟你过了咖啡，咖啡里那啥灯跟，一个结婚的过别，如把红里准嘛年，想着的里想的大别，红歌那么3年，人嘛到那灯不行，只等送了有2年，想着还因最难别，人到他真成难难。当然你这把几给都能马里把那些嘛，想着还做那么点儿不，老他妈敢去的嘛，跟地过去个绝地，啥都没那么敢把些嘛，想着你妈老二爹比见你把了我这啥，当然你这不得大意，现在这不人那些，想着对娘生老过辈，见他咋样都当。रोनो न जुंसो नम जंबा तरा राम चन्य सार गति तो बंद तो लाभ शब्द न निचर साचु जितन भमा जुमा जिम जिन जितन दंगर कने जादोस जितन भमा जुमा जिम जिन जितन दंगर कने जादोस जितन भमा जुमा जिम जिन जितन दंगर कने जादोस तारे 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 जुहा तारे 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 जुहा तारे 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 जुहा dare 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 so 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 yarim drama kirbe chenra no kodar ke se ta dan jangam da ki kim sam jong sam bo chenra tinra konra da so nyur sho Yam san chokang wo zhe ni pa nam zhong li ji si zhang kur dum kan zhu mong bu ji 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 si dao zhi ji xian ji la ji xiang si su rong ma hong ban zi ren ge re pan ma si de yin ji na xiang zang pa ma ke si re dong bo la Yam san chokang wo zhe ni pa nam zhong li ji si zhang Kurdum kanju mambu kar ji 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 se dao zhi ji xin ji la ji sha se se guru ba ma se de yan ji na xiang zang ba ma ke se re dong bo Yam san chu ge ngo zhe ni ba ma zhong ni ji se zhang Kurdum kanju mambu kuru kiki jisi dalju ki shengi lachi shazi guru bama sirdu Oma bandru guru bama sirdu Oma bandru guru bama sirdu Oma bandru guru bama sirdu Kila da jang sura da bim di to so kang do ne bi sa sho sa na dang war pong da zu jua chu dong zha xin be ren da de sura yer ge na jang zang ba ma ke zhe dong bo Yam sun chu ku ngu zhe ni ba ma zhong ne ji se zhe Kurdum kanju mambu kuru kiki jisi dalju ki shengi lachi shazi guru bama sirdu yer ki na janzang bama kesir dongbol Yamsun chuku ngu zhe ni bama zhong ne jisi Kurdum kanju mambu kuru kiki jisi dalju ki shengi lachi shazi guru bama sirdu yer ki na janzang bama kesir dongbol Yamsun chuku ngu zhe ni bama zhong ne jisi Kurdum kanju mambu kuru kiki jisi dalju ki shengi lachi shazi guru bama sirdu Oma bandru guru bama sirdu Oma bandru guru bama sirdu Oma bandru guru bama sirdu Kila da jang sura da bim di to so kang do ne bi sa sho sa na dang war pong da zu jua chu dong zha xin be ren da de sura
Om Nam Tada Nam Da Ram Chen Len Zhe Bo Da Xi Zhuang Chen Jiang Na Zhu Ba Ye Sang Ji Chu Kin Tan Ba Bo Tho Kan La Shang Tra Da Jia Zha Xi Shu Zhu Me Jian Ta Tan Dong Zhe Gong Shan Be Jiang Hua Ge Zha Hua Dan Ba Kan La Gong Ba Jia Zhe Zhang Lân Bồ Tát Bồ Tát Trơ Hoa Tông Nơ Xiêm Chên Tam Chên La Gong Trơ Bồ Hoa Ra Yơ Tâm Tát Bá Tát Rơ Trơ Hoa Ra Đêm Thân Tâm Tu Tra Xi Hoa Bê Rơ Và Đê Vơ Shang Bá Gia La Shang Sa Lôn Cha Hoa Ra Shô Hoa Tân Đô Chên Tân Cha Rê Tông Gong Bồ Shan Bồ Hoa Ra Sa Yi Nhang Bồ Trơ Ba Nam Bê Rơ Sơ Rơ Nam Kê Nhang Bồ Pham Chô Cân Đơ Phật Durje Pakar La Shang Da Nora La Ra Zhe Nye Ma Yi Shang Sa Lao Nu Ta Xi Hoa Jin Shang Che Sen Hoa Jian La Shang Sa Lo Ren Chen Dong Zhong Tra Xi Se Jin Dong Zhong Wen Song Ye Wong Ka Ma La Nyan Zhe Dong Da Pen Zo Hoa Vi Mân Giang Thân Hoàng Chân Cô Lô Tê Rân Chân Tam Chô Jê Chi Sang Thân Chân Chô Tê Chê Chô Cha Chi Phi Lơ Ma Gong Sô Ngô Tam Bê Hoan Bê Rê Vă Tra Xi La Mô Cha La Sông Sơ Lô Sang Ba Chên Bô Đêm Chô Trân Mê Vợ Mơ Tông Tan Tông Giác Bô Yên Cô Rơ Chô Bát Chi Bô Tông Lô Mơ Mơ Sa Nam Tô Trân Bê Lạc Sinh Cô Lô Trân Xia La Tông Om Dong Dong Dorji Jana Pawan Rajam Chotin Jamsin Jana Sasama Nesu Gela Trashi Pelan Chotin Jongwa Jala Shamsa Lo Daja Tantur Shawa Sumbala Gatan Yevar Seva Kanshin Dodon Huanbar Samta Yushin Trashi Tula Prasan So Parasho Maung Shi Dechin Bawang Gopo Zhang De Desh Tong So Zhe Tong Pe Yi Chi Ka Ma Zhang De Teng Ban Mi Rang Jin Ne Do Jin Nyam Ma Nang A Chen Bo Huan Chu Ke Nang An Dan Yi Do Ji Chu Ji Tian Wang Chu De Ji Ji Chang De Ban Ma Jian Bong Kun Di Ma Hong Jin Nang Zhe Zhen Nong Wang Jin He Re Ka Song A Yi Xin Ban Zhen Wa Ra He Dim Chong Do Pe Jian Bong De Jin He Ma Li Ji Ge Yong Zhou De Jin Ma Chou De Na Shang Jin Wang Ju De Tong Ge Wang Zi Le Do Ji Wang Wu Zha Ge Dong Na Dong Nian Ba Jin Bo Ma Ni De Do Do Ji Ge Ga Ji Zhe Si Ma Yong Gang Me Sang Ge Jia Zhi Gang Sim Ge Wo Zi Ma Bo Ko De Yong La Jie Zhi Ji Dang Ji De Yu Zhang De Bre Ji Do Ji Zhang Ba Jin Bo Te Ji Na Nam Ni Wu Zheng Do Kim Zhong De Zhang Do Ji Xia Ji Zhang Ba Jin Bo Yi Nang Zhi De Wa Jin Bo Dong Xi De Ba Tai Jim Zhi Zhan Wu Ru Ge La Jian De Ji Gong Wu Xi Wa Jun Xi Ba Ram Zhe Dang Song Wan Ge La Song La Ki Bi Sur Wan De Su Mu Zhu Du Ni Xin Zhe Wu Se Nge Xiang Ga Me Sen Jia Me Hui Te Ji Xian La Ye De La Ma Na Ji Me De Ban Zo Jia La So Ba De Gong Ji De To Ba Po Ba Xin Ji Lo Ne Chin Zhe Wu Se Nge Xiang Gam Sen Jia Me Hui Te Ji Xian La Ye De La Ma Na Ji Me De Ban To Jia La So Ba De Gong Ji De To Ba Po Ba Xin Ji Lo Ne Chin Zhe Wu Se Nge Xiang Gam Sen Jia Me Hui Te Ji Xian La Ye De La Ma Na Ji Me De Ban To Jia La So Ge Gong Jin Ban Po Xin Ji Lo
냥제 침보 쏟는 힘이 성존의 힘 침보를 내게 덕글다는 산도 실마 돋든바 특지 전라 기시험 살을 다데라 nga chu cha da ne shi chu ge cha so to la min lam jir dan zhe ra ge ne da chu zhe de xia ji yin.
So, si jamais pour les Français, la traduction c'est Canal 10. So, this morning, teaching of this morning will mainly be connected with the Guru Yoga, with the unification with the Lama. So this is mainly what I'm going to talk about.
Tani ta terang so chutun chapi ner kamnan dana yenji girkat tarong tamayam baga tani ta spen ya dana tani jarko jamba girkai kor kone
So today the teaching is translated into English and also in other languages such as Spanish and so forth, which is very good.
상집 정도는 내가 양 또 추측 추즈진도 사이르가당 흘러당 노전도 좀 더당 메이르가난다 로아근지 저크츠스바 탐실가도 덕크 추탄도 제이다나 회나 로아다리 소소 하당 흘러당 드네 다리가 마마연 라스바 로아 몽보지가 라랑당 탐비르가가 다리가 추송 적송을
So actually, Buddha Sakyamuni himself, said that when he gave teaching, he would give it in the language of the gods, in the language of the Nagas, in the language of the Rakshas, and the man-eaters, the Gandharvas, and in all the languages of human beings. So therefore, when the Buddha taught, he taught always according to the languages of all the different kinds of sentient beings.
대란드지나 드네 당아서 추측고 수원도 실동거 라민 남절담제라 라민 남절담제란도 드니 다 추탐측거 수 시접근도 다 흥원조가 나오자고 옛날에 냠는 거도 시에나 단도 공지 드니 각설 원도 다 탐측거 짜와인 저희다는 혼 기빠던 집이 라마 탐측거 정치도 송원제.
So actually the teaching today is connected to Guru Yoga, and the practice of Guru Yoga is like a central or like a principal among all the Dharma practices, and it's usually like considered as a preliminary practice, like it's part of the preliminary practices, yet it is a practice that is like the actual practice or main practice, and is considered to me to be really like the center or the core of all the actual practices. So all the lamas of the lineage have explained that very clearly.
다추 냠슬렘 반데라 렌스르 몽보지고네 다 라민 남줄도 수 랑기 따빨라 때니 또다 똑바 차버전 랑기 jel라 기르시치 그탑 모마인 바지기 힘겨요.
So then all like different practices can have different specific purposes and different levels, but the practice of Guru Yoga specifically, like the main point of this practice is devotion, and it's how to give rise to this special realization within our mind through the power of devotion. So this practice of Guru Yoga is a special means for that.
실 따빠지 반대형 તને નપશોકો તને યા છુલંગારે가 나나 따빠데 다 추대 줄지스 맘정나 파르치를 랑지기다래 냐라라서 발라 홍조주고 디모고 다 차박을 남바잔 건조지 대양 요래다 있나요 맞수 나 상기 바가 빠지기는 다 내리그 지슴 장위 그거 추양다 비도나 니시타모 마인 바기비 스타와지가 저쪽고요.
So actually devotion, I think in the West and in Western religions is something that is understood pretty differently. Like it's the idea that you must practice, you must have devotion to God or so forth, otherwise at death you will fall in hells, you will have some punishment and so forth. So in Buddhism this is not at all the way we conceive devotion. Devotion mainly means to follow the actual way things are, to follow the fundamental nature, and to find a real certainty in that. So this is what truly devotion means in Buddhism.
Chula tapainandra, lamala tapainandra, Tomer, then Jimson Yantabashi, Stavi Jism Rangi, Hachang Karchimbore, Karti Jimson Yantabarmashi, Rankerka. So as
we talk about devotion to the Dharma or devotion to the Lama, we first need to understand the reasons well and know the reasons well before we follow Dharma or the Lama and before we give rise to devotion. This is very important. Otherwise, if you just have devotion out of the blue, then this is what we call an ignorant devotion, and it's not pure, authentic devotion.
Neligda merdam baga, tirtawa gertawa tena, shir nawa sanji baga, togo, Jean Gane jang, tang da malim ba jire.
So generally, in like the fact of believing in something that is not correct, that is not true, not according to the way things are, or the mode of being, is something that is generally not accepted in any of the Buddhist texts.
Pena Jean Chembo Chabram Paperto Pale, Dagna Sanji Shogmanson, Sirtia Sula Merdanja, Ganzigrik Berdambis, Danger Tumber Jonsons and Sonjir, Nandun Cherezena, Matsu Sanji Bajianaran, Sanji Jondan de Ni Shorezi, Delatari Shokson Zenjidana. The agenda of Jambagatari Tramtato, the Shirori, Nitari Shokson Marizi, Maratorki, De Mense, Cherezenina, Si Ligari, Jimson Yantabatan, Nelide, Jubatan Dambayanina, Tetari, Sixonina, Tingas, Tombaranson, Zaidan, Tangatsu, the Nawasanji Pagastavi, Zu, Jens, Timos and Zangiore.
So actually, it says in the Buddhist text that the Buddha said himself, you should not like follow me or follow my teachings out of sort of a partial attachment to me and thinking, oh, this is a teaching from the Buddha, or this is a Buddhist teaching, so therefore it has to be correct, and a teaching that doesn't come from and that is not Buddhist, that belongs to other philosophy, in itself will be wrong because it belongs to other philosophy. So you should not criticize them in this way, but examine who is actually right, who is speaking according to the reasons and logic, and this is the one you should follow, and this is the one you should hold as your teacher. So this is a very fundamental point of the Buddhist tradition, of the Buddhist philosophy.
Tatana Matsunawa Sanji Pagastawate Zirkonandra, Chenambaga Tene Lama Lartiasan Royana Draga, Kayana Tambo, Tene Rigba number Tabag of Tago, Rigba number Tabag of Tagona, Nailing down Danmartan, Nailing down Madana, Tene Sanji Chuin and Drago, Lamikson in Andraga, Te Tariga, that down the Malanjana and Nibayomare.
So actually, when we talk about the Buddhist view, either the Buddhist view or when you have the refuge for your Lama, in whatever way, you need to examine with the logic. You need to examine logically if it works according to the way things are, according to the way things function. Otherwise, even if written in a Buddhist text, or if it's your like your Lama said it, but if it doesn't accord with the reality, then it should not be accepted.
On Nailing down Dambaji Bate on Ozo, the Sheriff left in the Tangon. That is Sheriff, only the Tambo to some consum these menina, Rankerko, the that Sheriff Ninse was the Sheriff, the Rangavajiko, the Lami Kamshu in Nandraga, the Agenda Ranga Chunyam Selenji in Nandraga, that's why you both sheet up on Mare.
So when the main thing to understand the way things are and to examine, we should like examine with our like wisdom, discerning wisdom, how things are, and like the mode of being. And in order to examine that, we do need to train our wisdom with like hearing, reflecting, and meditating upon the teaching. Because if we don't have this training, then just by like our wisdom alone is not sufficient to be able to practice the Dharma properly.
Then the Tambo, so the Mangak Nyamsalana in Naran, Tuba Kalakansams, Niberjanker Gore, Garte Tuba Geomenina, Chapter the Tansang Tindala, Mernamker Nato Halibatari, Mamboyore, the net Toba Savoyan, Toba Mamboyore, the net Ariga, Tasanji Chuin and Lami Conshutin and Ranga Tubagar Manja the Mayonnaise, Namjika Nerkamnat, and Chula Loktakia on the tennis, the Lama Latari Loktakia, Las Banjo in Yinka Hajan Chimboyore.
So actually, when we practice the instruction, the peace instruction, it is important to first have a certain experience in listening to Dharma teachings, because if like it's nowadays very easy to have different thoughts and doubts about the things like about the teachings, the Buddhist teachings, or about our Lama's conduct. So if we don't have enough experience in like listening to Dharma teaching, then it will be very easy to have wrong views towards the Buddhist teaching or towards our Lama's conduct. So it's important to establish a good foundation of listening to teaching.
당상 네 라만 그냥 조 다리 흥은조 로르도 남제다나 근데 흥은조 뭔가라 소바 조도 그스타트 만도네 타커거네 티나 다 조바 쳔보다나 샤제 쳔보다나 대전다나 저 홀나 다 도르진직시 기어도르지 텔라소바 그스타와 감토 쇼바 간랑 타커거로만나라 저잖아 아네급스 코론솔라 양직 셈다리가 다 판바다 데바티스 요레다 옛나요 망지 양답바 jamais 비kim비 남지가 내급나 되니 라슬로 탐지가 랑가 람창양 다리가 도리용지 요레.
And so actually nowadays it happens that teachers like lamas directly give instruction on Zopa Chempo or Mahamudra without letting the disciples first establish the base of the four thoughts which turn the minds towards the Dharma, or without accumulating the 500,000 accumulations of preliminary practices. And so then they directly give this teaching on Zopa Chempo or Mahamudra, or they make them practice Yamantaka and so forth. And it could be beneficial, like in short term, to make the mind happier and make the mind better. But because there is not this foundation of the preliminary practices, then it can very likely there can be troubles then later between the Lama and disciple, or like a defect in the disciple's practice can arise because of that.
Tatna de matsu samya nyamselene yan ta zerwa namji yang zu tambo dari ngunju monga tani ji ngunju go ta lojung go kurunde yin rung warda tani ji tammo jinjo tna tani ji rang chu de yang ta chum tai hwazi de lem ta malo ji chu gun tai hwazi de chunjo dore ngama ngachon boyer na iko lama jibe de ta tir ngama gna haliba go lama shenlap chang de lama chakchen ji gonje konge yin ngunju de zu stand yi da tani jima dari go iko lami loma yeno jo tamche da chu pe dari go tani chuba halibi dari antang yin ge ta dimo logi ge na yore.
So actually in the practice of secret mantra, the main practice is the preliminaries, the 500,000 preliminary. Then to train our mind through these preliminaries is extremely important to make our mind, to make this training very stable in our mind. And then based on that, then it's very easy for the teachings, to practice the other teachings, and for this practice to reach a certain a perfection, or to truly reach their goal. And in the past in Tibet there was a very blessed Lama, very great Lama called Yukok Lama, and he would really emphasize so much on the preliminary practices, and he would let his disciple practice the preliminary practices so much. And at the end, many of his students became very famous for having really a perfect realization of the Dharma, or perfect practice of the Dharma, because they had established this 500,000, these preliminary practices, this base, they had established it so strongly.
Lama ji da dangsan yana yang mongbo ji ge Lama da ngarang niga darin jamnyam re tane Lama la kiba dana Lama la suran de ke dana Lama la ngudru jwa so de guba man de chire zena ko yang me yin ba dana
ngarang tsu dari ga masai nara ramni membare zeidane yang tam mangari ga tendi dari zechur yokyo re.
So nowadays there are many people who, when we talk about the lamas, they say, the spiritual masters, they say, oh, my lama and me, we are equal, we are just like the same, because so there's no need specifically to be so respectful to my lamas or to supplicate my lama, because he is a human being, I'm a human being, so all human beings are the same, and there's no need to be specifically respectful or have any special treatment for the lama. So some people say that nowadays.
Shirtanga lama jikite ngacho namba ga jonga na lama sangje dan jawa songore lama sangje ngui no songore retan lami tari ga shke dan lami ngag niga tari sangje ngui re song yo mare.
So generally in the Buddhist teachings we say the lama, the spiritual teacher, is equal to the Buddha, or the lama is a true Buddha. And when we say the lama is equal to the Buddha, we don't say his body or his speech is equal to the Buddha.
Lamam sanye tang dambaji yana lami tujik yondan hoina kembi yondan da zevi yondan da nipi yondan kemse niksum ge yondan de sanje da shangchu senhua da chanja wo gam yana sanje shangchu senhua go ogomba da yer me po to chabre me parta ve kiriyo pi ti jim sang go to lami tari go da ogomba lami ogomba churko te tari go da sanje da de tam nyamboyin zeidan da jonsosur kana te son yore.
So what we say in the Buddhist teachings that if the Lama is an authentic Lama, his mind, his mental consciousness has the same qualities of wisdom, of love, loving kindness, and of ability as the Buddha, or like power as the Buddha. So therefore, the Lama's mind, it should be at least similar, very similar to the Buddha's and the Bodhisattva's mind. The Lama's mind is even indivisible or at least if not, the Lama's mind should be is indivisible from the Buddha and the Bodhisattva's mind. So therefore, when we say the Lama is indivisible from the Buddha, it means his mind, his wisdom mind is the Dharmakaya, and therefore is equal to the Buddha.
Lama tenji tela rambaz gyore tambo lama sanje nguen martai lama te chokbor ta tene ta lama ga chu maji ko tela kyun yo ta yondan yo tambo takshi shje karche war.
So actually when we follow Lama, there a gradual stage is like a progression in the way we follow the Lama. First we should not consider the Lama as a true Buddha, but consider the Lama as a companion and examine the Lama, examine the qualities and the defects of the Lama. That is what we should do in the beginning.
Tene lamim dang ke chu de thotte tene lamim zapa te yang sangje dang shangchu sanhwa la kyabar me tene lami thiji ke yondan de yang sangje shangchu sanhwa da kyabar me ti Lama de sangye dan jawun de shi de kumkor.
And then as we receive teachings from the Lama, and then we should consider that the Lama's activities are similar or no different from the Buddha and Bodhisattva's activity, and that the qualities of his mind are also similar approaching the qualities of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
Tani namji gane kamna lami thiji chi yondan khoina semji ngo chirta jund toba ga rigbate tani dari rangi yang ngom chot tani rangi yang shi tani lami thig dan rangi dari ga semnika gomba ga yermet senri namji gane kamna ta sangje ji pa ta dele jan ji mak samji rang semji ne li chirta jund to sondi tir ka sa de lama sangje nguyum samjo tin deshi gam ti tapa de ki yong.
And then at some point, by following the Lama, when we are introduced to the essence of our own mind, our awareness rigpa, and we recognize that essence of our own mind, and we know that essence of our own mind, and our mind become inseparable from the Lama's wisdom mind, then we can know the Buddha, that the Lama's mind is the Buddha itself, and your own mind is indivisible from the Buddha itself. Then you will have at this point the devotion of seeing your Lama as a real Buddha, as an actual Buddha.
Tiene kamna lama la sangye ngu tapa te an doba me pare pena malare bi to sonyora mame wembi rchut ne yit kyoshi wala sangdi men lama tirsum sangye yitongwe wala jarwa men te ta kong wen chana yo ti ngimjong ki ta na to ngimjong yit kyowa ga tari ngane namyang tari jarwa me kas te ko lama tirsum sangye da ta yimbala yimbr shino ti Testa tapa tongwe batela onam jaramesi wena lamit nawa ta mamre lama jide ngune ji sangje da chabrama ka karte lama menina nge tari jikten kam ka rang tari semje ne le da chutam ji ka ne le tong mare ta lami tari shawa te sangje ge shawa da chabrama ka samju khungum chenle da khungi tari ga da shawa gar ko ne na rang la ngi shi thamo ma ba ji yong thabore.
So then when we have this devotion of seeing the Lama as a true Buddha is, for example, as Milarepa said, he said in the this solitary mountain hermitage, there's nothing to distract me from my sadness or from the weariness or the sadness from the suffering of samsara, and therefore there is nothing to I never separate from the devotion to my Lama, who is the Buddha of the 3 times. And therefore, my mind never separates from this devotion. So therefore, so this Milarepa was saying that in the mountain hermitage, the renunciation to samsara arises very strongly, and from this renunciation, then he never forgets the Lama or never separates himself from the Lama, who is equal to the Buddha of the 3 times. So therefore, to see your Lama as a real Buddha is not only something that you see through the normal worldly activities, but through understanding your own mind. And at some point, you should see the Lama's activities you should see the Lama's activity as indivisible from the Buddha's activity, and find a certain understanding or certainty on that. So to be able to realize the nature of your own mind mainly depends on the Lama's blessings. Te chirta jindar tojo tsuwa tari ranga tsoksa ki drupa janje te ni dan tsoksa drupa janje dan te ne tari stodun lama ga tari shinlap te zantab kirko ne ranga jilar ki jo ta ndoksam khona yin tam makto ba ji jang tabsar tamchi boyan ta mombi shaware to yang ta bi le kamare songre. So it is said that to realize the innate ultimate primordial wisdom, one should accumulate perform the accumulations and purify the obscurations, and rely upon the forceful method of receiving the blessing of a realized Lama. It would be stupid to to follow any other means. So I try to realize that innate fundamental primordial wisdom, accumulations of merit, purify obscurations, and most importantly to rely upon the Lama and on the Lama's blessings, rely upon the blessing of a realized Lama. And so any other, trying any other way would be completely ignorant or stupid.
Lama jita tanga su rangi tapa yona ranga tari mangak tongkang lama te yang lama jena chokre. Karte ranga ten rawi tapa mena khwena ngarar mboche la soba taga sangye dan shanchu sangwe chirwa ranga chumjer toyo pi karong jigla rangi lama yang samna te yang chokre.
So when we talk about the devotion to the Lama, we can have devotion to the Lama from whom we mainly receive the peace instruction and consider him as a real Buddha. And we can also have devotion from all the Lamas that we receive certain Dharma teaching or Dharma connection, thinking that they are real emanations of Guru Rinpoche and real emanation of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
Lami shenla te rangar jalla jigne zonte tene ngune tare lama te gadang ngune na pe na rangi pha da rangi ma da rangi zarda la so ba ga ma jen kangi yang jan de me pa ta wi tare ta te la gawa ta na tang win de shi su ta bre jin de che yong re.
So when the Lama's blessing enter into our mind, then we will know that his kindness or her kindness is like incomparable compared to the kindness of our parents or the kindness of our partner, life partner, and the love and sort of inspiration we will have towards our Lama will be just absolutely immense and like constant.
Hwardan tsaw la marmur kajik tsaw lokta marche chumzu chusum tong mugi lami shan lo semlan jik parsho ze khwerna lami tariga shotsir kangdang kain nando tablam kipi semchen ka tom rak kizire maktok zeman dela tariga tene chig nora dan chara la so bakang yon marep sanne tene tana kajik ma chig tsaw yana lami tariga mzapa kang sho nara te lokta marche tamchut bodu chusum tong tirta tariga lama 답신럽 때 덕거냐라 지브르 kirchu sami gendanga su xorande benerka nayo tertavi tari xorande kuyonre.
So we usually perform these prayers and says towards the activities of our precious Rud Lama, our kind Rud Lama, may I never have a single wrong views, and through this devotion of seeing all his activities as pure, may the blessings enter my mind. So therefore, no matter what the Lama, whatever activities the Lama perform, we should all see it as a means or a skillful means to guide disciples, but not see it as any error or mistake. And with this devotion of not having wrong views for even a single second, then the blessings can truly enter our mind. So this is supplication that we do.
Lami shenlo lakte ne ranga semgyang ne lik tokbando ngasu tangsang gandi lobcha chimbu namgo tene lobang su gergen lakte ne gergen go mara flapsha chat ne tene shivsha janju teni ka rol khakare rol sosore.
So the way we realize the nature of mind based on the devotion of the Lama is a completely different connection of Lama and disciple that the connection you can have between a teacher at school or at the university and his student. So it's completely different.
Te penanga chu boba ga sachana na shangzo da dozo da shagzo rezo tene ta gergen mambo yora ti gergen mambo chu pho na da loma jana ti rangi to ga shisha de korang chu la lapcha shene na ta teni pansang gergen zamzre te zam rangkar ko tela shiun z rangkar jela chenre ma to zemana khorna thaba chimbu chu da sang ka chu sha na ta wi tenjim re ra yomar.
So for example in Tibet we have professors or teachers that can teach you certain handicrafts such as working wood or carving stones or working on working the iron and so forth. But these professors or teachers, they explain you a certain knowledge. They pass on to you a specific knowledge, but that's very different from what a master of Mahayana or secret mantra Vajrayana can pass on to you.
Penanging na ta ngama lopchando mikana tane chi jai ke girgandana tane jinjir ta murg archuk ta poig la so pa girgan mambo ten yonre girgan mambo ten na nginguni ta chamala tare gajan che ji yo re ta yena ya tare pe na samwa ngak ke ta ga gajan sam dang ga laming lama ta dare che yona te tare ga jikten ge shisha ta na tane jikten depi 되네 샘기 오다나 대전다나 타바 친부 출동 근거 라마가 되네 연단다나 되네 쇼강한테 야나 차버 친부요 요래 요요래 당 나른 거니였나 테스타다리가 테 따츠르다린 조고요래.
So, for example, when I was at school, before I had teachers who taught me how to speak and read Chinese language and how to read Tibetan scriptures and also all the different sciences and so forth. And I'm very glad to them for what they taught me. But if I compare to my Lama and Dad with the three kindnesses and who gave me the secret mantra Vajrayana, and so the kindness is just absolutely incomparable because the teachers, normal teachers, give you some sort of worldly knowledge, while your Lama passes on to you the essence of mind of Dzogpa Chenpo, of great perfection. So the qualities that they possess and the kindness that they've given me, for me, is absolutely different. And so this I always keep that different in mind.
나 ngaran lamsona ni chamnang ga tene phama tene jikten barodo sonanja tamayen ba ga thamong ga de shisha ga girgen tan de chodari ga jikten barodo sonena ngarang la semna dengri yoreda yinna na pena zolong me pa ga ne tene magna gam chima gonje tenri tare dengri yomare.
So, for example, when my parents passed away from this world, or when my normal teachers, like when they died, it caused me suffering, of course, but it's not like this unbearable suffering that brings so many tears out of my eyes and so forth.
Pena tane tare tachi thaba chimbu chu thamo maim ba song ka ngi tsawi lama chu tan tane lama yibjenore kambon jigme panzo tsare khore shati me pare tane yo tedang jawa ga to kambo tebaji dane yo da ngala chi chu thopki dana da hwacher ngonro tela te kamzang na mi jarlong tela sok ba ga chu mangbo chu thom nyong na mare da yena yo na ngi semji da tari ga ta chi thamo maim ba ga nang chu ga tawa da thaba chimbu ji 다 지금 연던 몽어지거든 공거 get니 끼요 또 공 라마 신럽 장지게래 다 때라때네 몸에 공 남바다리 파지된 바로 다장 학생으로 내렸거나 할레바다리 지금 늑무측 바다비 다리가 샘나요나 다롱이나 르진단 거 페나 말람나 알미니나 다니 야라 사티 지 연롱어 와도 다 지금 샘나라다리 라마 짠제다는 되니 그 진대양은 지금 문에 다림 치마전에는 라마라 소란디 다 데스타위 나와다 진대양 다리가 단 적진는데 디몬스도 옛날에 데나 남바소이나 지금 직된 거 다리가 길근즈 거다 대잠스기 스타반데 왜 매네나 지금 아속상한 거 같으면 마음 바 라마 댄서다 라미 남줄 거 돈디 쩌타비전도 고고나 베 칼레 커버레 삼고요.
So for myself, my root lamas, according to the teachings of the great vehicle, Khenpo Jime Prinsok and Khenpo Tepa, and I've received teachings from many other teachers, including the teaching on the words I'm a perfect teacher from Patrul Rinpoche and so forth. But from these lamas, I've received this uncommon blessing from these two lamas. I've received really the uncommon blessing from their wisdom mind into my mind, and therefore, when they left to the Pure Land, so the suffering was really unbearable for me, and it almost still is until now. That sometimes I dream about them, and for a really long time I remember them and miss them and cry and supplicate them with devotion. So this is something that stays always with me. And for yourself, so if you have, you should follow your lama in a way that, with a view that is very different from the view of a worldly teacher. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to realize any of the meaning of the secret mantra Vajrayana.
Testavi lama te jinde yella chanjo to te yedum gal hab gumbale jam payon chiware. Harkum bumcham gumbale lamar kajik jambem cho ze jikr kan naksong yore.
So actually, to remember your Lama constantly like this is more beneficial than to meditate on any deity, as it is said that rather like remembering your Lama for even an instant is better than to meditate on 100,000 deities.
Lachin mandarawa toga te yidam gakchir kor jar jaga nirkabna te chu lama damne indana tani tari yidam damne inziti tani lachin mandarawa yidam damja tani ngoro rumbochiga ta chu tamche ishim sor jira sonja.
So, for example, the great Princess Mandarava, when she saw the mandala of the Yidam deities appearing to her, then the Guru Rinpoche asked her, "Do you choose the mandala of deities? Do you choose the deities of the mandala, or do you prostrate? Do you choose to prostrate to the deities of the mandala or to your lama?" And Mandarava prostrated to the deities of the mandala first, and it is the reason why Guru Rinpoche gave all his teaching, passed all his teaching, not to her but to Yeshe Sogyal. So it's she did take at the end, then she prostrate to the deity, and therefore she didn't get all the teachings. And So at the end, all the mandala of the deities of primordial wisdom, they all disappeared after that, and she didn't get any teaching.
Perna lama rangi taristayu lama tanatani yidam jahor ayang mana shareaz kanons na cherione na ta churang kan damni enjena ta parchevati to yidam dam jogure ta yena the Savi Chinese Lama da Yedamnika, so that Shenlokoni, Lami that the Sochiva song.
So I think generally, if we see our root lama, and next to our root lama we see Manjushri appearing in real, or Avalokiteshvara appearing in real, then there's like a risk that most of us would choose to first have more devotion or prostrate to the deity actually, but actually the lama is most important. Like the blessings of the lama are really the most important part, even more important than the deity itself.
Ate lama la tapa got lama la tapa te so Jimson Shiba tapa te one tane karchare to Jimson Shiba de so tambo tari sanji ge chute la tusum yawaz je hazjo tene tari sanjin chundan de chami ki imba shi tene tari sanji ge songno de chuyang ta ba imba de tari lami ka chen ma to zema jen kangi yang na yang ta ba ji tok to mare tangsan lotra chimbona girgun mombo yore ta yenayang na khona ba ge jimjig zoi ya jimjig zoi tani 다 배참mambo 저게다 심직조래다 심직도 시원들에 막 도제면은 되는 스톱이 이시 잡으지 그래요 말에 되나 gelum 카카소소래.
So therefore the Lama's devotion is very important. So this is what I wanted to say about the Lama's devotion, and mainly that you should have devotion based on understanding the reasons. This is very important. So you should first understand the Buddha's teaching by listening to the teachings and reflecting on them, and first understand that the Buddha is very authentic, the Buddha Sakyamuni, and that his teachings are authentic, and then understand the Lama's kindness and have like a real devotion for the Lama. And this is something that you need to understand by yourself, because if you take your ordinary teachers, like if you examine what they can teach you, the knowledge that they can teach you is very different and is much less profound than the primordial wisdom than that your Lama and the realization that your Lama can give you.
The Chenambandana Jigon Manchesada, so Ngapisten Janj. The Ngapisten Jana, Tosun Yachin Margui, Tanata, the Churatopi, the Luxiore, that take with Shijida, Pay Mandra Karchimburi.
So most of you here are following the secret mantra path and like Ngakpas and Ngangmas. And it's important to understand that in the secret mantra it says that even without very like a great experience in listening to teaching and reflecting on them, then one can attain liberation. This is very important to understand that.
So wogin na tak ngayana chulig tela so taga kokar chalu de da tene ngarmug rapshon garte ngarmug garte ani ore tene kokar chalu de chembir tenjen yenna yang so dari chunyamslen kanga tene dari zank karo jongedan tene dari wacha taga chalu ngongo dari te poklorji chakana zona na churgir chaki rarwaga tariga tani taji tanzang gstiwa dana tripatopi to sanjib shansu sanwa odan shi dana to kijib shi ki timo songonre dorna tari to kokar changlu de zi dana dechig dana dechig ni ore.
So actually in the tradition of Tibetan Buddhism there are two sections of practitioners, the practitioners with the white clothes and the long hair, and the monks with the saffron robes, and these are the two sections of a practitioner. And as the Ngakpas, so those who wear the white robe and the long hair, so they are like lay people, but at the same time Dharma practitioners. So that's why they wear the white zen and the long hair. And in the Tibetan tradition, the long hair they symbolize like the hermit or those who have attained the realizations. But these two sections of practitioner so are very important in Tibetan Buddhism.
Tene rapshon ngarmung kirte zikitane tene chadang karpala sobabcha tene lila yang tari chukur nambaksam tene kyone dananta chone girde tene so raptu shongirde tene ta tertayu de nambani yor.
And then the monks, so they shave their hair and they wear the three kinds of Dharma robe, and they take the monk vow. So these are the other section of practitioners. So that's the two kinds of practitioner.
Ta tangsang yenna rapshon ngarmung kirde inde je nyong raya so to kokar changlu de tan da shokso so ga to ngagma ta 대양的这个让所素养查进的점수 요나 키나 봐야 왔더니 지 주바 마인 박잔다 만자 와가네 랑라쿠 가로 요나 할레 봐야 보래 네 마마 위자다나 더니 당 우르디 디모고난 거 더니 키나 봐가 다리가 지 촉강에 돈반돈디리 더니 다리 남자 다티소 다림 통근도 옛나양 가수 어잔다 만자 와가디 랑라양나 다리가 추비 남바돈식 거 더니 남자 다 다르장 가로 존지 데스타가 다 추냠슬렘 브르시네나 데네 치야보레.
So nowadays the monks tradition with saffron robe seems to be sort of declining, while the Ngapa tradition of the white clothes seems to be sort of growing up, or is sort of growing up. And when I see the clothes that you wear are very good. It's good to wear like this specific clothes of practitioners of secret mantra practitioner of the white robes. And I've seen on Facebook and WeChat videos and image of your practices and the Drupchen and so forth. And I was very happy to see the clothes that you wear that are very specific to this tradition.
Ndaya sanje shakyata pi gombadan tambajire cherezena hun gerbo andra burdi tani kongi psummoda kongi dare ndoyon tamcher pamaniga tani zami chitsir nyanga ja werkin to cherkyala doyon pami tarwana namyamondo kodama zi kodama zena jomdan dezen jomdan dela kongo tani 다 야리 chetsir dana tani yarwin khur 코르단 데초 탐쳤다는 하장 냠가와다나 그거 다 예던 상황이다 그랬네. 다 높이 연들 나워 방위다 타라도는 다 남양다리 먼저 그 가티 쪽적만 봐 외치다 베르소나라나 다고 데스타가 먼저 그제디 전된데는 노연 방 먹고비 다리가 드네 침비 람가 다소 상황 그 춘도 다리가 송에 지마 되게 야롱 코르담 제바 종치금 버튼이야 줬대야나 다 산지가 션나다 산학가 션나라테네다나 타라 통송들이 제이다나다 로지치모 차그르갑나 송요래.
And actually, this tradition of secret mantra and of the Ngakpas and Ngamas is accepted by the Buddha himself, or is according to the Buddha's teaching himself, since at the time of the Buddha, the king Indrabodhi and his sort of princes and queen were not able to abandon the worldly pleasures that they were enjoying. So they told the Buddha that they were greatly sort of rejoicing about him and the monks, and found it very admirable and beautiful, that they were monks and that they were abandoning worldly life, but that for them it was very difficult or impossible to do so, and therefore the Buddha gave this teaching to take use the pleasurable substances or pleasurable or desirable things or as the path, and therefore that was the teaching of secret mantra Vajrayana. And through these teachings of using the pleasurable things as the path, then we say that the king Indrabodhi and all his entourage attained liberation. So therefore this. And that all the beings of this city, even the smallest insects, attain liberation. So due to the blessings of the secret mantra. So therefore, this is already established at the time of the Buddha.
다연네요. 당선거 감나 때스타비 종kir그 뭐단 제바 탐쳤더나 릉증가 살락샤저고나 까모레다. 있나요? 다리 회나 금신 뭐품 잠초고 또 망각 치사바 세문즈 줄라소바고 공바다나요. 당선거 감나 족바 진보 상화 흥금 틀라때니나 되니 지금 르네다는 정화 침보 매나요. 다리가 다 릉거 sem고 어쩌다 준다 동네 되니 릉증가 살라 그 가츠가울레 지엄에 비고는 섭득기 다리가 대송
So maybe nowadays maybe it will be difficult that all the beings, everyone in the city, the entire city, would attain the state of Vidyadharas, but yet through the power of secret mantra and the teachings of Zopa Chempo, just as the example of Mipam Gompo, who realized the nature of his mind by receiving the instructions, then it is possible to attain the realization of the nature of mind without having a very great quality of learning. So it is possible to obtain the stages of Vidyadharas even without having a great learning.
종흥 파르모 제직 착청이 릉전 살락 식대 잡람 티송래 대체제래잖아 드니 딱상화 흥이 릉더 투발 야치부 먹고 실동 투발을 거래 투발 야침보 베나다리 지 종가보르가 안다라 몸바나 잡마다나 원마다나 실신 나속바 드니 로 베나가서 자사가 그런 밥저고네 나타 파치 가서 라롱 가네 나 롭종아 그런 아타리 오종가 보는 아르족요래 다 된다 잠고 다리 투바디치 메나야 쳐래 투바디치 먹고 버제 당일에 레전드 디츠드 트레인교 당부 투바디치 먹고 버제 도르즈 있다네 투바디치 먹고 버제 그래와
So first, so about this realization of the nature of mind, so it is said that even without a vast learning and reflecting on the teaching, through the pity instructions alone, one can realize the nature of mind and attain the stages of Vidyadharas. So Therefore, in the secret mantra, we say we don't need to have a very vast, study of the teaching. We do need to study the teachings, though. It's we do need to have a certain understanding of the secret mantras. But when we say this, the studies don't have to be that vast. Like it's not like in the monasteries where you study the 5 great kind of scriptures like Vinaya and Abhidharma and logic and so forth. For example, in Santa Larongar, the study program is of 15 years of a study program for all the texts. So this kind of study you don't actually need to do. So when we say we don't need to have a vast study, it doesn't mean you don't need to study anything. In the secret mantra, you do need to study the view of Madhyamika, of the middle path, and you do need to study the teachings of preliminary practices, and these things you need to understand them, but it doesn't need to be as deep and as vast of a study as studying the 5 kinds of scriptural knowledges and so forth. So, and then we say, through the peace instruction, one should maintain the essence of mind, the essence of awareness, Rigpa. So, the peace instruction, there are many kinds of peace instructions, but it's very good to first have the support of the preliminary practices. Otherwise, if you directly introduce the peace instructions, such as the 3 verses that hit the crucial point, or instruction of Yeshe Lama, or the Khandro Nintik, the hard essence of the Dakini, or the Bhima Nintik, the hard essence of Bhima Mitra. So, if you introduce that without the preliminary practices, then it can be a little bit dangerous. As some lamas told me, to Westerners you need to teach them directly the Dzogchen and the introduction to nature of mind, and then the preliminary practices. Otherwise, if you introduce only the preliminary practices, then they get very bored. So I heard that and I thought, this must be a little bit dangerous. So if we once we have recognized the nature of mind, then maybe it would be okay not to have done the 5 preliminary practice, but it is actually very beneficial to perform the preliminary practice in order to recognize the nature of mind. So mainly when we talk about maintaining the essence of mind through the peace instruction, so it's that without studying in a very vast way, this very vast amount of scriptures, then through the blessings of a realized Lama and the devotion of the disciple, then with even a little bit of peace instructions, then by meditating them one can realize the nature of mind.
종hnga 종바가 나나 배나 지금 곰바가 나나 요니게 지금 랍도 총화다는 데네 계시당 관보 된자 마연잖아요. 런크를 끊어서 데네 지금 종바다는 삼강다는 다 니모 촌하나 요는 종hnga 팔모치 대망 제가지다. 당가 소리 냐마가 촌나야 대타위 추냐를 신거 망보요는 라마페 다리 지금 짝 첨보가 그 차주장가 회나 딩곰 캠스는 뭐지 던종은 뭐지 대라소바가 회나 처지는 뭐지 라소바 당럽건 이렇게나요 라마 몸보지도 요너래 양때 따위 다리 금 4년 뒤모 매양나라 다양하지 로마다리 용시다나 대전도는 지금 다 자와 용시 디모 소양나 샘쳤다외다나 다 디모 빼 몸보지도 요건을 대내나 그 종형 팔모치세다 종형 아 무슨 파르타니나 다 지금 쇼바요는 차른 초라였네 되니 지금 건강원이 나라 투바요는 지금 베나 지금 게시다나 종가 보르가보다는 디모초 탐주보 참마다리가 지금 로종 탈신 맨킨가 하르타나 단디 징에는 산나라는 동거던거 장기 다리가 지금 샘견을 저타진 또용 그거 뭐지건데 딘디 달라만바 범것도 세몬습스가 나나 치레되나 종형 파르모 치지가 되게다 대대대성래.
So when we say to meditate on the to say based on the peace instruction, one can realize the nature of mind, and therefore the sort of this realization can arise in the mind of even like a very like a ordinary people, or like any sort of like a lay people or like a city people. It doesn't have to be people who stay like in the hermitage for very long, or people who have very great study. And even the lamas, like there's very great lamas such as Digo Khyentse Rinpoche, Dijun Rinpoche, or Minling Chinchen, who themselves were Ngakpas. But there are also many other lamas who, like smaller lama with less disciples, some monks and as disciples, and maybe some lay people as disciples. And you could think that their conduct is sometimes a little bit strange and so forth. But yet, even without having a great study, and even from the outside, even if they don't look like they are great imposing lama, they still can have the realization of nature of mind, and give the student the realization of the nature of mind. And the same, like you can have some monks that don't really get a high grade of study, but yet they have ultimately realized the nature of mind. So therefore, this realization can be can even be found by ordinary people without having to necessarily be having a great like level of study and so forth.
다 데이터의 종합 파르모체 착중의 릉전샤 낙샤 다 베나 추 잠바이나 다 베다르노 몽보와라 토숨곤수시 까츠깔레 몽보지고레 레타나 상능 qalың도 다 덴지 까츠ක් 까블레 갑신 머고니 착충 그 님반동제다나 대비전도는 지금 샘고라 따지 다 디모가라 르초나 송 곰나다 만나다리 대르초다 디모건 조주고 차티 메나야 소 첨능가 되네 랑가양 다리 첨성가 레가 또 자성가 레가샤 저저라 랑가 세마테네 되네 남지가 내르감나 지금 샘가 내리게 되라양 다리가 지금 니시트모 많이 바지 지어 내르감나 다 지금 베나 짜사금 좀 나타바가 종르그 지금 타르게 줘는 쾌바침보 말했다는 만나양 다리 랑가 지금 랑스 마시로와 그 추비 다리가 다 좋아 추비 다리 쓰다 앞저와 대전도 똑비야나 다리가 더니 좋아다 앞저와 그 디모고 더니 다 어네릭zer 고난자가 또 추고 다 냠뇽정도 그 랑식 그런 거 jel라키 온지 욕송을.
So when it says this realization can arise even into ordinary lay people or city people, so and also they don't involve great hardship or great difficulty. So unlike other teachings where it is necessary to have great study, great reflection, great long time meditation, the teachings of secret mantras can with little effort be realized. So without that you have to actually stay in retreat in mountain hermitage, like even if you don't have these conditions, then just together with your work and taking care of your family, then if you have found this uncommon understanding of the nature of mind, and you maintain this certainty on the nature of mind, then like without having to be like a great erudite, then you can actually obtain realization. So even in the monastery, some monks that are actually not great, like a great scholars, or don't have great studies, but if they maintain their own ground and maintain a mind within the pit instruction and not separate themselves from these pit instructions, then like slowly, naturally, the realization of the nature of mind can increase more and more in them.
Testa sak zamul go sak lamul go gane tene rangi jillar toba chabrichan ji jinru ju jamsun kat yorejana zo dan ringzin gi padam chebi song tene zablam gun to tene chu zabmon de gun to dana tene tare rangi zayulami war ko to tab gipa war ma chapi ti tamtsig dana tene rangi tapa dan da zu ge jirtin temjin zo me kiryon di da ngone so kanzak tamar baji na ya na tene chu zabmon da la tene rangi jilla toba chabrichan ji ji ondu tare ngosum chammayare.
So when we say it doesn't involve like a great difficulty, or one can attain realization without great difficulty, but then what are the reasons or the cause that can give rise to realization? So first you need to receive the precious teachings coming from the lineage of Vidyadharas, these very profound teachings of the Vidyadharas. And secondly, there must be no interruption in the samaya of the lineage lamas. So with your root lama and the lineage lamas, there should be no degradation of samaya, and also no degradation of samaya between yourself and your lama. And mainly your own devotion to your lama is what can give rise to realization, even if you are like an ordinary person and you don't look like you have great knowledge or understanding of Dharma outside, yet you can realize the nature of mind with these conditions. This is something that is certainly and established in the Dharma.
Ta chu nyamslem bi wong de shenara na chu nyamslem je de rang tapa yo ne zonte tene chi semgar ne lecture ta jen shi ge de katsag me pa perna kamkin ma pan jam chu song de lawi yema chi bi semji so lami mangak to kim thong jer ji lawi yema chi bi le labo yen re ta chi rang ge yema chi par ta ba des ta wi ta re semji sang de lami mangak ta lami shin de ko ngi 다리 통을 jirchi samgyo dar zogchen molum karkamna lawi yimma chi ti semgi sang machu semgi sang da ma shine na tene semgi sang da ma shina deto dingar pondo kya deto tamche kenarane gyonji karkamna sonre semgi sang da karshi machu rowa sein narana rang semgi sang la tedi semde la sang zo na semgi sang ngoma da shizone na diner kamna tene chin kornde ge chukandang kan na nyamslen go na draga tene chi dorlen shir go na draga pe lehla pos ge chawre.
So actually if you have devotion to your lama and the dharma, then you can realize the nature of mind without really much effort. So Mipan said you can realize the nature of mind in a way that is almost unbelievable or unbelievably easy, like based on the blessings of the peace instruction of the Lama. Then one can realize that sort of secret aspect of the mind. So when you have, you maintain this secret aspect of the mind, then this at the time when you practice or whichever you do, then you have obtained this secret aspect of the mind in a way that is you have found it in a way that is very easy to find.
So chen namba ganda na chik semchik kor ko manga ngare jiore. Ta semchik manga tamche posra ndi sona so sem rang se juk je thana sem ga rang wa shi je rang sir da ne ba ta te 망 탐식 셈 라모스 저데 셈거 무엇이 좋은데 때네 다가 적천게나 때네 도 그렇잖아 때네 도 바로 준비할까나 야 때래.
So you have probably received instruction about the nature of mind, or like peace instruction guiding to the nature of mind, and it mainly means to like leave the mind in its natural state, or leave the mind in its like unaltered state, and recognizing the mind as it is. So this is how we teach things in the Zopa Temple, the Great Perfection, which also in the Sutra, it is the teaching of the Heart Sutra of the perfection of wisdom of Prajnaparamita.
베트남 도촉네 나 때네 셈라 셈맘치 바 셈지랑 저 웍사로 그래서 임 바르마 임 때네 임치 먹을까나 임 바르마 그럴까나 때네 셈 동안이 된지다 셈지랑 저 웍사로 인지 츠그 니그고 때네 맞수 적친 거다와단 잡고 저송어래.
So for example, in the sutras itself, it says mind is devoid of mind because as the nature of mind is clear light. So this in the sutras themselves, like this is in the medium version of the Prajnaparamita Sutra, the Sutra of Perfection of Wisdom. It says clearly that the mind is empty and the mind is luminosity or clear light. Just so that is very similar to the Zopa Temple teachings. So,
대동 잡고지 그 코이나 자노고 기파를 감나 도르지х 줘봐요. 도르지х 줘봐라 때니다는 다
So in the Chinese tradition of Buddhism, we study a lot the Diamond Cutter Sutra, and there are also many people who attain realization based on this Diamond Cutter Sutra.
맞수 보바가 오지건나나 즈마메 잡임도 니가 네 그거는 왜 즈마메 잡임도 네 외모 지진是英语怎么说对吧즈마메 잡임도 그렇게 잡자.
There's a sutra in like we study a lot in Chinese Buddhism called in Tibetan Buddhism called sort of the famous stainless sutra.
즈마메 잡임도래가 고송했다. 마소르가르 망송나 계속 유럽 날 결급 망나서 가르 망나서 메가르 망보마시나 스페칼에 가본다.
So it's very difficult that there's so many different languages in Europe and I don't know any of them, so it's very difficult with the language.
유럽 그 결급도 디스 망치야.
There are too many different countries in Europe.
다티 팀도 대양 대 즈마라 잡임도 대양 다리다 망가리가티 도데 돈니다는데 스스로 고런 잡아톰도 망보요래.
And also by showing this sutra, like the famous stainless sutra, there are many people by reciting it. By reciting it, there are many people who have attained a realization just by merely reciting this sutra.
즈마메 바잡임도 그렇겠나 양송원나더니 그렇겠나 달라마 유전으로 척송으로잖아. 데 셈마프주랑 선적바 추데스음 거진 연카지 연수. 근데 말씀 매경 군 머품 잠수 진어다 나왔는데 말씀 매경 카르고네 거다. 체르제나 랑게 셈데 마프주 이런 거 적지원도 조바침부 추데스음 거지. 다데 데스음 거진을 마시나 조바침부 추 탐식 바가다 추 탐식부 년커이너래 너런 그거 전화 말씀했다나다 카르고네 쇼르타 zonda 콘그 망 다데 담거 그렇게는 된다 손으로.
So it's, when Khenpo Prince used to teach on this sutra, the stainless, like famous sutra, and on secret mantra, he would say actually, like to leave your mind in the natural, uncontrived state. This gathers all the three sections and the four sort of turning of the wheels of four four great Dzogpa Chenpo teachings. So it means in brief that all the Dzogpa Chenpo teachings are included into this sentence, saying just maintain your mind like in a natural state, uncontrived states. So I didn't want to say that, but it just sort of came out of my mouth naturally.
做的人给什么啊？多个干呐等于南卡没个毛子，对，别人南卡个别说人个什么的没么子有的，他都得让的呢，高档穿的门穿的没西的，做的别人人个什么就我的东一前的南卡的呢，对，萨拉的样三百个会做那个。
So when we talk about the mind, like in the sutra, many times we compare the mind to the sky, and I don't know among you if some will understand what I'm saying or not, but when we say the essence of mind, so its empty aspect is similar to the space or the sky, but its clear, luminous aspect, this is, we take other examples for it.
대체 타기 남칼라 대바전의 랑가셈 교준 바이 동안 도스페나 뭐저 타커그 남칼라 때디 남카데 지앙다리 랑전 쯧바요는 말아 되니 나랑 그 셈란 도착 제당 또 나르게 라소바가 똑똑은 자도 먼저가 기회네 겁나 랑기 셈 때라 때나 배낭이 도착 슈쿠르쿠 쉐크 보내 겁나 되니 셈기 셈란 내 겁나 셈기 셈라 때네 겁나 되네 다리 제든 거랑전 도착 거랑전데 지양 마트 바가 이시가 거랑전 저던 다 왔단데 라메 다리 모트너레다 라메 모트너 잠즈 점선 맨날 라마야는 막송 라마였나요 다리 단다 마블나 촌레다는 단데 뭐네 랑가 다리 나토 거랑전데 나토 이시즈인 삼건데 교었더니 라메 망가라 때네 랑기 다리 때네 코타 나네 저디 서로 저도 건조너.
So, for example, the teaching of Jamgon Minpan Gyamso, it says that when you look at the sky or the space directly, so the space is not materially existent, and in the same way, the whatever comes in your mind, even the afflictive emotions of desire, anger, arrogance, and so forth, so they just appear from the mind, and they are just the mind itself. So even when desire comes very strong or anger come very strong, when you look at it, it is just like space. It is just without any solid existence, and this is the nature of the five primordial wisdoms. So this is what the Lama can introduce you to, and it's something that's so that you can come to experience by yourself that actually just the mind is not something solid, and that the emotions in the mind are not solid and are actually the nature of the five primordial wisdoms.
남카 지지도 좀 도르까나 되네 탐 몸보와라 되네 남카가 회셔요래. 나 yem jebata yem dibata yem rong te sor kamna namka pe mo bojon tene perna ngakene kamna chomzo kan jera long term zo kamna ya ta leger revisendana namka pe janina namka ngi ngama dare te chomzo zu shakyo tene chuban gare gazego kamchen chimboto namka mo bozo zego de kosore te ngone namka da dare pe karchimbore 그 제존 지tem 발로 상로다나 되네 사드 런탄치 버려 사 티라 총총서에는 골모 못 벌고 그래 추발로 상로다나 남카데 델레양 런탄치가 요래.
So actually the sky is something that in the sutras we use many times as an example. For example, in the Prajnaparamita Sutra, the Sutra of the Perfection of Wisdom, either the short version, middle version, or longer version, every time the sky is mentioned as an example. And in the secret mantra, for example, in the Choingze, the treasure of fundamental nature of phenomena, of the treasure of the expanse of fundamental nature of phenomena from Kunken Longchen Rabjam, and also on the commentary. So I was giving recently a teaching on that, and actually each chapter it talks about the space or the sky. So some practitioners, in the audience, they came to see me and they say, "Oh, Longchen Rabjam always talks about the sky, and it seems like the sky is so important." And actually, for the worldly people, the earth is very priceless, and people pay a lot of money for just a little piece of earth, of land. But for the practitioner, it seems like the sky is more valuable than the earth or the ground. I think he's afraid that I'm going to fall back if I lay down on the throne, lean on the throne.
남카 당원에 추발할 상록다나 시동 맞수 샘지랑 전대야는 총조 그렇게 나송데 남카들 똥차대와 똥아짱에 빠지게 된자와 코는 마냥 송원데 다른 샘지랑 전대 우억사라즈 데르샤비 냠보 데네다리 우억사리랑 전즈 토마메 반에 다가버도 다리 요너리 디랑 전도 고소나 조 샘징 워 똥레잖아 똥아 코는 똑소는 잠즈게 샘징 워 시와 말해서.
So when we talk about the sky, actually, for practitioners, when we talk about the nature of mind, for example, in the treasure of the space of fundamental nature, it says the nature of mind is empty like the sky or like the space, but not only empty, not like a blank emptiness, but it is also luminous. It also has this clear light, which is the Sugata Garbha, or the fundamental Buddha nature. So therefore, if you realize the nature of mind to be only empty, then you have not yet fully realized the nature of mind. You also need to realize its luminous nature.
Ngama de dunjong ke kongwa chakong dorjil dunjong ta ke 그 공마 오마테로 대거다리 망거 익창가리는 된적 송출 족바 진부르다와지 바데 남가 먹고 먹을 좀 제이다나 다 족바 진부르다와데 치르잖아 쪼도 다리 남키랑 다 남카라 먹고 먹을 잠스 그 초송이다 된적 송을.
So in the previous incarnation of Dudjun Rinpoche, Traton Dudjun Limpa, in his peace instruction about the Dzogchen view, so he mainly introduces the Dzogchen view as the space, saying do not lose the nature of space. So that is the Dzogchen view. Don't with your So don't lose space in your eyes or in the object of your eyes. Don't never stop focusing on space with your eyes.
옛날에 남칼람 통지원 말에 대전서비 도그 간나 가르쳐는잖아. 남캄 통지 샘신츠가 알죠. 남카 찌르트 통데 돈다 딱버지. 가리게제나 남카 곰 통르제다. 남캄 통지원 말에 돈다 딱고서. 남캄 텔람 통바라와. 지금 통해요 말아.
But space in itself cannot be seen. So, so in the sutras also themselves say that space in itself is something invisible, something that cannot be seen or truly seen with the eyes.
참마 르트 그렇잖아. 남 디나 잔다가 남카 남기 드십시오. 만 저나. 고성해. 그래서 잔당 부가 잔지 남카다는 부가 남카데 나니 오르지. 그래서 파르나 공부텔라 다 잔지 부가 잔지 남카. 근데 와르나 장 몸통아텔라 우기 남카. 남카 제라데 잔다고 그 니기 남카 말해서 다때 먹고
So it says about the sky that there is the sky, like the sky of the ornament and the sky of the hollow sky. So it is like the two sort of qualities of the sky. One is to be blue when you look up in the sky, it's blue, and one is of the sky to be like sort of empty. But this is not the sky. So the sky is something that space is something that is not having neither ornament nor hollow. So
these korkabons yende ta yenayang de when namkha pe jare ta na rang semji to nelikte to je de tene zoba chimbur ka na na ra tene woma chimbur ka na na hale ba kar chimbo yere.
So this is quite difficult to understand, but when we understand the nature of mind, either in the Dzogpa Chenpo or the Madhyamika teaching, this is very important.
Tene Dzogpa Chenpo ge yang tene ta namkha la hui jane de rang semji ngo ka de tongba ni ki ton te chirta wa to sir mang ge yan jan de mambo song chur yo re te ran de ne sha pi kap mare.
So in the Dzogpa Chenpo teachings, so there are many many different teaching to explain you the nature of mind and make you understand the nature of mind from different points of view, which are not it's not at the time truly of the scriptural knowledge that we study this. It is truly to understand the nature of mind.
Yinayang ta pe na ngalam sona terang rangi semde namki tare huila jare ta sha kin de parchir ju lama koma namge mangap zarshun ro te yin.
So but today, as I talked about the mind and the example of mind as the sky, so this is actually the deepest piece of instruction from my past, from the lamas of the past, the great lamas of the past.
Gendang ngarang ngoni nayang che shirdang ga chupata na tene che lopra chim moga che loma girkan da tinra indir tawi to tonte shastur me chirezena korang so yong nayang che chuza modela chirta janda nyamne che ma yenna yong na kenamba ga chuzo ko che to loma so ngoni na ngoni che sang la tapa gendang ga kunshu tene ji chokkan tarne yang haleba ga ju semla dari chomo dana kenambe chuya da ya bo nyamslen ge yong ge tindas de tindi jekin momoji la sano tangda kungo dari ga da lami namjur tam jewa ga tene rang sem ji mo la ta tsam do dipa chang ji ba yin.
So for myself, this kind of teaching, I don't give them to anybody or just like this. For example, if I meet university teachers who even know a lot about Buddhism and so forth, then I'm not going to tell them such a things because I know they don't practice this profound Dharma. But for you, the disciples here, I can see that I know you are practicing the secret mantra, and I can see in your conduct is very good. So I rejoice very much of what you're doing, and I think you are practicing with your mind. So therefore, based on this many causes and condition, as connected with this teaching on Guru Yoga, then I've given some teaching about the essence of mind.
Tani ta jarshung damjerwa ga tani tsaka niji ki tsaka chigde nga chung boba ta terang boba mongbo jig da me ka da boba chola na kartsang yang dipa ji ne tani jima tan da na namkaram boche re tane tare sakya tare khambu re tamayam ba chundana nyama ga yang tari ga chawa lama tene khonamba tene tarong yang mombo yochire te so yene na europe ko shondane nga chu boba ga yana tene napshok manda sodam nyam da chuchad jirka tene lama namba ga yana khonamba la ya nyarji gir ko ne chuchad te khsung ko ga ma to zemana sachanda na yana 다 지금 그러나 보였나 있나 지금 곰바 요너래 출퇴 요너래 고랍셰차 요너래 되니 망보 요너래 되니 거리긴다나 있나 된다 요건 말에 다 된다 매송나라 고라다나 또 소다리 곰반 자지 옥소 말에 추시기도 소거래 되나 또다 아마 되니 남가름 보치다 콩남바가 화추는 거래 되니 견지그래 망보 송래다 옛날 뒤잡나 다 지고 봐 요너면은 약사로 시그면도 되니 지만이 있나 tani ni nyonshi zo me na pe na za ni ma da tenro tsok ta de kirong ma su boba la ta ri ga chu song ge tani kong namba che namba ga yana ji sa chu su so ga yong ne na chu gu shir da na tani de ne ta ri ga no shok ma tham cha ta na yanak ma tham cha pe na ta ri yin na da na ta yanak ma ga ri yin na kena ta ni ton de tani yinji ni ton de faranse ni ton de tani sa cha so so ga tani daro yanak ga 대 야낙네 스라 용도가 다 대소에는 사차 소소네 남지 나나고네 다는데 영어 추냥 거요래 다 소거 다리 그때니 된다 소르거든 아주 보박 지 먹고 김선만도 대나 되니 다 대랑 낸데 안에 양도 쳐남바 보바 소연나 마오나 다리 추추 지르고도 되니 다리 라만남베 하나 또 보바 남나 또 쳤는데고 tene dari ga molnga sokan jogo samand kan jogo te samar go tene no shok mo khona dari chugur no yenzdan tene sharshok dari mo snut mayem bada yana dari lame maksong yana lome matna te dari marene te na jima dari ga tarta gon rol ge dis to number younger go ne lama nam ka chu song ge dan loma nam ka chu ji jo te rewak chi
So now, after this teaching, I want to say something more connected to the Tibetan tradition, and there's not that many Tibetan here, but there's something I also said yesterday, and I want to continue to say, is that Namkhar Rinpoche is here, and Satya Khenpo also is here, and there's certainly also some other monks of the Nyingma tradition who are like good monks and know well about the Dharma here. And so the teachings, like the Tibetan people, you also need to come to the teaching, just like European people do. And please, the Lama also, Lamas, take them with your compassion and help them understand the Dharma. Otherwise, like in Tibet, most people they have monasteries, and they can do koras, and they can around the monastery and prostrations and so forth. But here you have nothing of that. But actually, the monastery is not that important. What's important is the Dharma, the teaching of the Dharma itself. So I know that many teachings have been given here on the books of Patrul Rinpoche, about the preliminary practice, and the Bodhicharya Avatara, the way of the Bodhisattva. And I don't know if many Tibetan people have come to receive these teachings or not, but I think it's important that you Tibetan people would also come to these teachings. For example, now there are many Westerners and Chinese people who have come to this teaching, and some of them have come from very far. Some from Canada, some from France, from the UK, or some even directly from China. So therefore, if Westerners and Chinese people do that, then there's no reason that Tibetans couldn't do that and couldn't go and get the teaching themselves. So, and also to the Lamas, I want to ask you, please just give teachings for Tibetan people. Make them do the 500,000 accumulation of preliminary practices. Make them study the logic and so forth. And because if it comes to the point where the Westerners are suitable vessels to receive the Dharma teachings, and Tibetans are no longer receiving the teachings, then that's something really wrong that is happening now. So I would like to express my hope, my wish for all of you that to change this this way things are going now.
Tene arangso de bobaga toga lama namba soyena tene mawana tene ta Europe shogni na jaga tene napshok America shogni na jaga tene jima te ta na ngama yena ngaso de boba jagari na boyeri na chartin dis jane tene napshok kormo te so dis yona tene ta re sharsho yone gomba jaya ta tene jar go yore 다 당상 옛날 곰바초 참마다 파르치다리 야그르쇼네나 자리 야그르쇼나 파르치아다 자와다리 제뇽 예레드니 곰발라 강리오카요 마레 마소 보예르니 옛날 곰발레치 참마다 파르치 레차레 다 당상 옛날 때네 지금 납속다리 야야는 디모서 송에다는 때네 지금 고르모다 된다다리 고야요 말에 대니나 때네 나충원이 있나 다 지금 다리 그 쇼초가 송나 곰바가 장치다 때네 지금 고르몰레야다는 된다 매박을 거고 소 른맥 걸고 그냥 다 추쳤다 다리 소 샤게요 양 지금 납속 추촉나는데 소 있나 양 지금 추촉의 맘터네 그 말한 롤고는 좀때요 지금 추촉 그렇게 롤 용실에요래 추촉고 다리 진경화 잠막도 되면 또 마음 바거도 다 관절다 만제와 그러고 되는 가총 다리 보고 라마츠 있네나 소 다리가 추추샤게도 가르침보래 되는 납쇼고만 있나라고 보바차가 있나라고 되는 자마가 양 지금 다리가 다 런거 차진 지금 맨에 있나요 지금 차진 치고들 거니나 대라 말다나 다 르맥 다리 라마남바가 추송이 있나 다 랑아양 대스타비 지지 거급 요건데 디초 요건데 가레게제니나 땅아 콤콤 요레젠데다 땅선 잠보는 거 mất 쓰야나 콤용 계속 직장용을 말해 까르테 콤요나라는 랑즈나티네 니막지가 공코레 콤콤시게 요레다 옛나야나 추르게 할레바 가르침보래 대이나 마체 통동디나 가수 추양다 바자 만드는 문에 다리 남즈가 신주 고건 말인 대인디 다 말리는 보친도 톱디다는 문에가 지 오바에 난자가 차버되거나 뽑아서 탐sit 보고는 당안 납쇼가 내 아메리카 라소바송데 가차티모 몽보샤네 대인디 지 관절 그 다리 라맛 남라요 고바침보 만들 다리 내 다리가 주반 남라요나 관절 몽보식 메나요 저기 요래 쪼도 다리가 다 추다 라마다나 되네 로마 참마가네 추인데 그 도나시 견도 다리가 탑lâm 역고 그리고 참에 도나시 고건도
So there are many Tibetan lamas in Europe and America, and I think in the past lamas had a lot this intention to give teachings in China and in the West with the hope to collect money to build monasteries in India and Tibet. But now I think there's no problem anymore with the monasteries. It seems like all the monasteries that had to be built are built now, and that we don't need especially to hope on any like financial help from the Chinese or the Westerners. And that's I think teachings could even be free, and that's like for my part I always try to whenever I teach that the teachings are free. Of course, in the West, if there is a Dharma center, the teachings, like we need to collect some money for the teaching to maintain the Dharma center. That is, of course, necessary. But for the rest, there should not be hope to make a grade for, to collect a lot of money with the Dharma teaching. The most important is the teaching itself. Because either you are Westerners or you are Tibetan, then it can happen that you are poor and you don't have enough money to receive the teaching. But that the money is not important. What's important is to give your time and to have this opportunity for the teaching. So therefore, I know all of you will say, "Oh, we don't have time." But actually, in this world, no one has time. Unless you make time yourself, of course, everybody needs to work, and even on your free days, you find many things that you have to do that will take away your time. So, of course, you don't have time, but yet the Dharma is very important, and you have this precious human body, and you need to make use of it. And especially for you, the Tibetans, you have this opportunity to as Tibetans, to practice the Dharma, and therefore, money is not that important. We don't need that much money. As a practitioner, even if we don't have much money, it's fine. But what's important is to have interest in the Dharma and to work towards the path of liberation. And this is very important that you all would give rise to interest for that.
Tani dondak chida dandani de dari dangaran rizina suwonde namkaran bochi chucho de paviyongre de tongyongna tani da chenambandana tani ringzin tamchoglanga tani da chuba mongbojiga tani chi semchit goche tani chi loksum chuksum go 참de kire so 할레바 여보 용도 tani 원이 가출 침보요 다양아 지금데 단지 조이다나 tani 지 카약다 ngorgagar kacha chamai 다대응의 정 고도요 말에 짐선다 매바이나 짐선 매바이나 다 지 랑기 我都打了这个就要不有嘛嘞，那样说今年的呢，前两百个的呢，的呢去要不，他的这个有就对了，他的就是一样样，他人个俺肉就是打的嘛都，我们都关正气。
So now in this the center here of Namkhar Rinpoche, this is an textual link. So many of you are Dharma practitioners, and so many of you have practiced a lot and practiced the nature of mind. And I know many in the centers have done retreat, and many people now are starting a 3-year retreat. So I greatly rejoice of that. And it's not like I want to praise like this meaninglessly, but there's really great reasons for why I rejoice of the activities that are going on here. And this is it for the morning. And I'm not going to say more. Dojam kamnyam duga mato ratana jude warla majobara janbana loba samshudar yanjana tina juba shao chapo tonjirla Chia ganda yavje jinba dera jawa wa jivja jisa Ganda zambur mola maliftambu Shanchu shubat yamsun tarsha Mao namdina gubya gubcha Riya shanda mutar yao tsardonze Doda shamdon nimgan doda jir Lapchinam chinit vivam tadosho Zalejim dira sinjanam sindam bhute dishin jandaki Onza tambara sangi rantanto Kisi nipa sachina zobrasho Ayinda nerimen donama bandi wakinso Tikana yalar munda kona Tanya sangha vaya tandarsar Trashi kanshi panso devji tere mali kirki nyesu susamana Mashi gaba sarja manyeba Gila noye sasam jabasho Lapa samdana ngarmu anzan baye Dipa soji ninda yunga zon Pada shatu shawe tandiva Sabda shamdara jiba gashi